The galaxy was old. Stars were born and died while empires rose and fell. Among those empires, one name was feared across 1,000 worlds, the Valen Galactic Empire. Their fleets were endless, their armies unstoppable, their rule unquestioned. For centuries, no planet had dared to resist them. But then, a whisper reached the throne world of Vela. A small blue planet, hidden in the corner of the galaxy, had destroyed one of the Empire's scouting vessels. The world's name was Earth. The High Council laughed. Humans? Primitive. Backward. Barely a species worth noticing. To the Valens, humanity was nothing more than an insect colony, unfit to even call itself a civilization. Yet one of the admirals spoke with concern. Reports say their ships fight with strange tactics, not in the way other races do. The council dismissed him with a wave. One fleet is enough. Send them. Crush this Earth before their arrogance spreads. And so the order was given. Far from the Empire's shining core, a fleet of 30 warships jumped into the Sol system. Each ship was massive, bristling with weapons powerful enough to destroy continents. At their head stood Admiral Krivos, a veteran who had crushed dozens of rebellions without mercy. To him, Earth was nothing more than another lesson to teach. Bring me their leaders alive, he told his officers. I want them to kneel before the Empire. Then we will burn their cities, one by one. The fleet advanced with arrogance, broadcasting a single message across human channels. People of Earth, surrender. You stand against the eternal Empire. Resistance means extinction. On Earth, chaos spread. Governments held emergency meetings. Civilians panicked. But deep inside a secret bunker, the human high command did not waste time with fear. They studied the incoming fleet, comparing it to every historical invasion Earth had ever faced. From Mongol hordes to world wars, humanity had always been attacked by stronger enemies, and humanity had always adapted. The Supreme Commander, a calm woman with steel in her eyes, gave the order, activate Command Protocol 1. Across the world, hidden defense systems powered up. Fleets of human ships, smaller and weaker than the Empire's, rose from their bases. But these ships carried something the Empire could never understand, the will of human command. When the I-8 Valen fleet reached orbit, they expected surrender. Instead, they were met with silence. Then human ships appeared, sleek, fast, and swarming like hunters. Admiral Krivos sneered. Pathetic. Fire at will. Empire cannons lit the void with air, and several human ships were destroyed instantly. But instead of retreating, the humans moved closer, weaving between the Empire's massive vessels like wolves circling a bear. Then, something strange happened. The humans did not fight randomly. They fought with patterns, their ships shifting, positions with perfect coordination, as if every pilot could read the mind of the others. The first Valen battleship exploded. Admiral Krivos froze. How? How did they do that? The battle grew fierce. The Empire had numbers, power, and firepower. But the humans had something else. Strategy born from centuries of endless war. Every time the Empire adjusted its formation, the humans adapted. Faster. Every time the Empire tried to trap them, the humans slipped away only to strike from the shadows. Valen officers grew uneasy. Admiral, they are reading our movements before we make them. Impossible. No race had ever done this. No enemy had ever turned the Empire's strength against itself. And yet, ship after ship fell to the strange, unpredictable tactics of the humans. In the command center of Earth, the Supreme Commander watched the battle unfold. Her voice was steady, but her words carried weight. Execute Phase 2. Tighten the net. The human ships responded instantly, tightening their formation, pressing the Empire fleet into a corner of space. On board his flagship, Admiral Krivos felt the noose closing. For the first time in decades, fear touched his heart. This is not possible, he whispered. They are primitives. How can they fight like this? But deep down, he already knew the answer. The Empire had grown lazy, proud of its old victories. It ruled with fear and arrogance. But humans were different. They were forged by struggle. Every generation had fought to survive. Every war had taught them lessons. Every defeat had shaped their will. And now that will was focused on the Empire. The first clash between the Velan Empire and Earth did not end in quick victory, as the Council had promised. It ended in fire, chaos, and disbelief. The galaxy was about to learn a truth the Empire had long forgotten. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not afraid. Humanity was dangerous. And this was only the beginning. Space burned with fire. The first human counterattack had shocked the Empire. The mighty Velan fleet, feared across 1,000 stars, had been wounded by a single planet no one respected. Admiral Krivos stood on the bridge of his flagship, his jaw tight. 3 of his battleships were gone. Dozens more had suffered heavy damage. And yet, the humans kept pressing forward. "Admiral," one officer cried, "they are surrounding us. They fight like predators." Krivos narrowed his eyes. "Predators? They are insects. Crush them." But deep in his mind, doubt whispered. The humans did not fight like insects. They moved with purpose. They struck with intelligence. They fought with something the Empire had not faced in centuries: hunger for survival. On Earth, the Supreme Commander watched the battle from a hidden bunker. Her voice was calm, but every soldier who heard her felt the weight of command. "Phase 2 is holding," she said. "But now we push further. Activate Command Protocol 2. A new layer of strategy spread through the human fleet. Each ship adjusted instantly, as if they were pieces of one living organism. Small corvettes darted in close to the enemy. Frigates circled like wolves. Human cruisers fired in coordinated volleys, tearing through shields at exact weak points. The Velans fought with sheer power. The humans fought with precision, and that difference was beginning to decide the battle. Admiral Krivos slammed his fist against the console. "Their ships are weak. Their weapons are toys. How are they cutting through our defenses?" A junior officer, pale and trembling, answered, "Admiral, it is not their weapons, it is their coordination. They are predicting our every move." Krivos turned slowly, his voice like thunder. "Explain." "They change tactics too quickly. It is as if their entire fleet follows one mind." The Admiral's eyes widened. One mind? That was impossible. No empire, no species, no machine could link so many ships together in real time. And yet the evidence floated before him. His fleet, breaking apart piece by piece. In orbit above Earth, a human battleship fired a concentrated barrage at a Velan destroyer. The massive alien ship tried to dodge, but the humans had already calculated its path. A single order had passed through the command network: cut off escape, end it. The destroyer exploded into burning fragments. Human pilots cheered, but their commander's voice cut through the comms, steady and sharp. "Do not celebrate, this is only the beginning. Stay focused." The humans obeyed instantly. No hesitation, no pride, only discipline. Fear began to spread among the Velan crews. For generations they had fought easy wars of conquest against weaker worlds. Their weapons had always been enough. Their size had always been enough. Their name had always been enough. But now, for the first time, they faced an enemy who refused to kneel. An enemy who could think faster, move quicker, strike harder than logic should allow. Whispers spread on the alien ships. Are they monsters? Why do they not fall? What are humans? Admiral Krivos tried to rally his fleet. Form up, crush their center, overwhelm them with firepower. Dozens of Velan ships turned their cannons toward the largest human cruiser. For a moment, the void lit up with blinding energy. The cruiser's shield screamed under the impact, its hull cracking, fires spreading. But before the Velans could celebrate, 2 smaller human frigates darted into position. They slammed torpedoes into the weak points of the Velan formation. Another alien ship went down in flames. The damaged human cruiser, instead of retreating, pressed forward, guns blazing. The message was clear. Humans did not run. Humans endured. From the command center on Earth, the Supreme Commander watched with cold eyes. She spoke quietly to her officers. They will try to break our will. They think power alone wins wars. But they have forgotten history. Humanity was born in war. Our species survived extinction many times before the stars ever knew our name. Her words carried across the command network, reaching every human pilot, every soldier, every ship. Hold the line. Fight with unity. Let them learn who we are. And the humans fought harder. On the flagship of the Empire, Admiral Krivos felt something he had not felt in centuries: uncertainty. His fleet, his proud, invincible fleet, was faltering. He could feel morale slipping through his claws like sand. He whispered to himself, "This cannot be. We are the Empire. We are eternal. We cannot lose to them." But as another Valon warship exploded in a brilliant fireball, Krivos finally understood a truth he had never considered. The humans were not just defending their planet. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson. The battle raged on, and though the Empire still had numbers, it no longer had confidence. Every move they made was answered. Every trap they set collapsed, and as the humans pressed forward, one chilling thought spread across the stars. If this is only Earth's beginning, what will happen when they decide to expand? The battle above Earth shook the stars. Alien wreckage burned in orbit, falling like fiery meteors across the night sky. Humanity had survived the first clash, but survival was not victory. In the war room deep beneath the Earth's surface, the Supreme Commander stood over a glowing table of holographic maps. Around her, generals and scientists watched as the simulation of the battle unfolded. Every ship, every movement, every command was recorded. She raised her hand. Silence filled the room. "Protocol 1 has proven effective," she said. "Now, we move to Protocol 2. Let them see what makes humanity different." Her voice carried no anger, no fear, only certainty. The others obeyed without hesitation. The truth was simple. Humans had a secret. A secret the Empire could never imagine. While the Valens trusted brute strength and massive fleets, humanity had chosen a different path. Centuries of war on Earth had taught them one thing: strength alone was never enough. Victory came from strategy, coordination, and adaptability. This knowledge was forged into something greater, something terrifying: the command network. It was not just machines. It was not just computers. It was a fusion of human will, advanced AI, and centuries of war doctrine. Every soldier, every pilot, every captain was connected, not as slaves, not as drones, but as one mind with many eyes. Each human still thought, still acted, still fought. But above them, the command protocol analyzed every movement, every decision, and gave them unity no enemy could match. The galaxy had seen large fleets before, but it had never seen a fleet that fought as one living organism. Back on the battlefield, Valon officers were panicking. "Admiral, their formation shifted again," one shouted. "It's as if they know our orders before we give them." Another officer whispered, "No fleet can fight with such perfection. They are unnatural." Admiral Krivos's claws dug into the armrest of his throne. His heart burned with rage. He had crushed rebellions for centuries. He had brought worlds to their knees. Yet here he was, struggling against a single world. "Impossible," he hissed. "They are only humans." But in his gut, fear was growing. On board the human flagship, Commander Elena Voss stood at the center of the bridge. Her voice was calm, her eyes sharp as steel. "Frigates tighten formation Delta. Cruisers prepare volley fire. Corvettes cut their flanks." Her officers moved instantly, not questioning, not doubting. Every word she spoke was echoed by the command network, transmitted instantly to the entire fleet. The human ships moved as if choreographed by invisible hands. 1,000 minds, one purpose. Alien ships fell like prey before hunters. Back in the bunker, the Supreme Commander spoke softly. To her staff, the Empire cannot understand. They see us as individuals. They think we fight with chaos. They do not know that chaos is our strength. Every war, every disaster in our history has trained us for this. Humanity adapts. Humanity unites. Humanity survives. Her eyes narrowed, and when we survive, we win. The Vaylons launched a desperate counterattack. Dozens of heavy cruisers surged forward, firing everything they had. The void filled with fire. Human ships shuddered under the assault. Shields cracked, armor broke, men and women died. But the command protocol adjusted instantly. Wounded ships fell back in perfect order. Fresh ships surged forward to cover them. Enemy salvos were predicted, countered, and turned aside. To the Vaylons, it looked like madness. To the humans, it was survival turned into art. Admiral Krivos roared in fury. Do they feel no fear? Do they not understand death? One officer whispered the words the Admiral did not want to hear. Perhaps, Admiral, perhaps they understand it too well. The bridge fell silent. Even Krivos did not answer, because deep down he knew the truth. Humans had always lived with death at their side. War, famine, plague, Earth had suffered it all, and yet they endured. And now that same endurance was being unleashed against the Empire. A Vaylan dreadnought, massive and armed with weapons that could destroy continents, charged into the human formation. Its cannons fired endlessly, shredding 2 human frigates into ash. The dreadnought pressed forward, unstoppable. On the human command network, a single order was given. Command Protocol 2. Spear formation. At once, human ships shifted. Smaller vessels darted to the sides, distracting the dreadnought's guns. Cruisers lined up into a sharp arrowhead, and at the tip of that arrow, the human battleship Valiant powered up its rail cannons. The dreadnought fired again and again, but the spearhead pressed forward, ignoring the storm. Now, Commander Voss ordered, the Valiant unleashed its cannons in a single devastating volley. Energy tore through the dreadnought's core. The massive alien ship split apart in silence, a mountain of fire blooming in the dark void. The humans cheered, but only for a moment. Then silence returned. Discipline returned. The fight was not over. For the first time in centuries, the Vaylan Empire had lost a dreadnought. The shock spread through their ranks like poison. Fear replaced arrogance. Doubt replaced pride, and Admiral Krivos realized a terrifying truth. The humans had not just fought back. They had shown a weapon far greater than ships or cannons. They had shown the weapon of unity. The battle paused for a brief, trembling moment. Both sides stared at one another across the burning void. Humanity's secret was no longer secret, and the Empire understood something they had never considered before. They were not facing primitives. They were facing predators. The War Council of the Vaylan Empire gathered in the Hall of Stars, a vast chamber carved from crystal and lit by the glow of 1,000 suns. Holograms of fleets shimmered in the air, but for the first time in centuries, those fleets were not symbols of pride. They were symbols of doubt. 30 warships had been sent to subdue a single world. Nearly half were gone. A dreadnought, the pride of the fleet, had been destroyed by what the Council still called primitive humans. The silence was heavy. No one wanted to speak. No one wanted to admit the truth. Finally, Lord Chancellor Varos broke the silence. His voice was sharp, filled with anger, meant to cover his fear. This is madness. A single planet cannot resist the Empire. The reports are exaggerated. Our admiral has grown weak. But the generals did not answer with agreement. They shifted uneasily, their eyes lowered. The data was clear. The recordings from Admiral Krivos's fleet showed the impossible. Humans, fighting with unity so perfect it defied logic. One general finally spoke. They fought as if they were one mind. Every move, every counter, every strike was coordinated. They predicted our tactics before we even executed them. A murmur spread through the council. Such words were dangerous. To admit fear of another species was close to treason. Lord Chancellor Varos slammed his fist. Lies, trickery, no species can outthink the Empire. But then Admiral Krivos's transmission arrived, projected in the center of the chamber. His face was worn, his voice heavy. My lords, I beg you to understand. This is no ordinary enemy. These humans, they are not like others. They are not slaves to fear. They fight with a command system unlike anything I have seen. Our fleets are breaking against them. For a moment silence reigned, and then panic whispered through the ranks. On a distant colony, far from the council chambers, ordinary Valans spoke in hushed voices. They destroyed a dreadnought? Impossible. If one world can resist the Empire, what will happen if others rise? Fear spread faster than fire. The myth of the Empire's invincibility had been broken. And in empires built on fear, once the illusion cracks, rebellion always follows. Meanwhile, Admiral Krivos stood aboard his damaged flagship, staring at the dark void where his dreadnought had died. Around him, officers tried to repair what was left of the fleet. He clenched his claws. For centuries, he had crushed enemies with ease. He had never tasted defeat. But now he had tasted something worse. Respect for an enemy. These humans, he muttered. They fight like no other. They do not obey the same rules. They do not fear death. They do not wait for mercy. They fight for something greater. His second officer, trembling, asked, Admiral, should we retreat? The question was poison. Retreat was unthinkable. Retreat was shame. But Krivos did not answer immediately. His silence was answer enough. Back on Earth, humanity prepared for the next wave. Ships returned to dockyards, damaged but not destroyed. Pilots rested, but their eyes were sharp with determination. In the underground command center, the Supreme Commander studied the enemy fleet. They will not accept this defeat, she said. Empires never do. They will come again, stronger, with more ships. And when they do, we will be ready. Her officers nodded. Humanity was not celebrating victory. Humanity was preparing for war. Inside the Valan Council, chaos erupted. We must send the Grand Fleet, one general shouted. No, if we do, the other worlds will see our fear, another argued. They already see it, a voice cried. If we do nothing, rebellion will spread like disease. Lord Chancellor Varos slammed his hand on the table. Enough. The humans are nothing. They are dust. We will burn their world until nothing remains. This council will not be remembered for weakness. But his words did not erase the unease in the chamber. For the first time, the Empire faced something it had not in generations. Doubt. Rumors spread to the farthest corners of the galaxy. Traitors whispered about humans who fought like gods. Soldiers muttered about fleets shattered by primitive ships. Even slaves in the darkest minds dared to hope. The idea was dangerous. The idea was contagious. If humans could resist, anyone could resist. Admiral Krivos finally sent one last message to the council. His voice was grim, his eyes tired. My lords, I will not lie to you. If you send more ships without change, they will die. Humanity fights with something we do not understand, something more powerful than weapons, something more dangerous than numbers. They fight with will. The council tried to silence him. They tried to bury his words, but the truth had already escaped. In the quiet of space between burning wreckage and cold stars, both sides prepared. The humans sharpened their command protocols, ready to unleash new tactics. The Empire sharpened its pride, ready to drown Earth in fire. Neither side would yield. Neither side would stop, and so the galaxy stood on the edge of something it had not seen in ages. A war where victory would not belong to the strongest, but to the most determined. The galaxy held its breath. The Valan Empire had been wounded, but not broken. Defeat was unthinkable to them. And so, from the deep core worlds, a new armada was summoned. It was no scouting force this time. It was the Grand Legion of Stars, 200 warships, dreadnoughts, and carriers, each armed with enough firepower to erase entire continents. Their engines lit up the void like a swarm of suns. Admiral Krivos, scarred but unbowed, stood at their head. Shame burned inside him, but so did fury. This time, he swore, we will not underestimate them. Earth will burn. On Earth, humanity watched the enemy advance. The sight of so many ships filled even the bravest soldiers with dread. Civilians prayed, cried, or prepared shelters. But in the command center, the Supreme Commander's voice cut through the fear. Numbers do not win wars. Discipline does. Unity does. We will not face them with fear. We will face them with resolve. She gave the order. Activate command. Protocol 3. The human fleet was smaller, barely 60 ships. Against 200, they looked like ants facing giants. But Protocol 3 was not about strength. It was about the mind. As the fleets closed in near a colony star, human ships began broadcasting across every Valon frequency. Not noise, not static, but words. The voices of human commanders filled the alien ships. Calm, cold, terrifying. You think you rule the stars, but you have forgotten fear. We will remind you. Every Valon officer froze as human words echoed through their ships, translated instantly by their systems. Soldiers who had never known resistance felt something new, a seed of doubt. The battle began with thunder. Valon cannons fired endless waves of plasma, shredding through the darkness. Human ships danced between the blasts, moving like wolves around a herd. Each strike was calculated, each counter precise. But now there was more. As alien crews fought, their comms filled with human whispers. You are not fighting a planet. You are fighting a species. Every move you make, we see. Every fear you hide, we know. You do not fight for survival, we do. It was not just weapons, it was war on the mind. Admiral Krivos roared, "Block their transmissions!" But the whispers continued, bouncing through every system, every relay. The humans had found a way inside their networks, and once inside, they turned fear into a weapon sharper than any blade. Alien crews hesitated. Some fired late, some miscalculated, some broke formation, and in space, hesitation was death. Human ships struck mercilessly. A frigate sliced through an exposed flank. A destroyer fell to coordinated volleys. Even as human ships burned and cracked, they refused to yield. On the bridge of the Valiant, Commander Elena Voss gave her orders with calm precision. Corvettes, cut their tail. Cruisers, push center. Spear formation Alpha. Now. The ships obeyed instantly. They pressed into the enemy's heart like a dagger. The Valons fired back with overwhelming power. Human ships exploded one after another, torn apart in the storm. But the survivors pressed on. Every sacrifice opened the path for the next strike. Every death pushed the fleet closer to victory. Because for humanity, defeat was not an option. In the alien fleet, chaos spread. Officers shouted conflicting orders. Crews froze in terror as human voices whispered through their comms. They are not normal, one soldier cried. They are demons. They do not die like we do. They endure. Admiral Krivos slammed, his claw on the console. Cowards, fight. They are only flesh. But his words no longer inspired fear. They inspired doubt. And doubt was deadly. The climax came when the human flagship unleashed the full force of Protocol 3. Every human ship, every human voice, joined the broadcast. Across the alien fleet, one message echoed, over and over. We are humanity. We were born in war. We do not kneel. We do not break. And we will not stop. The words sank into every Valon heart, and as the message spread, so did collapse. Some ships broke formation, some fled, some fired blindly, hitting allies instead of enemies. The great Grand Legion, the pride of the Empire, began to fracture. But the humans were not unscathed. Ships burned, wrecks floated in silence, and thousands of brave men and women had given their lives. The cost was heavy, yet the line held. In the command center on Earth, The Supreme Commander whispered as she watched the alien fleet fall into chaos. They came with numbers. We answered with will. This is our turning point. Admiral Krivos stared in horror as his mighty fleet crumbled. His officers begged him to retreat. His pride told him to fight. His fear told him the truth. He whispered, they are not fighting for planets. They are fighting for something far greater, and we cannot match it. For the first time, the Empire's most feared admiral felt the cold hand of despair. The battle ended not with triumphal music but with silence. The surviving human ships floated among the wreckage of alien giants. The stars were littered with fire, and the galaxy whispered the words the Empire feared most. The humans had not only survived, they had turned the war. The war should have ended already. At least that was what the Valon Empire believed. 200 ships had been sent to Earth, the Grand Legion of Stars. It should have been enough to erase a single world in hours, but it wasn't. Instead, the mighty fleet returned broken. Burned wrecks drifted in the void. Survivors whispered of human voices invading their minds, of fleets that moved like predators, of enemies who would not die even when crushed. The illusion of Valon power cracked. And once cracks appear in an empire built on fear, collapse is never far behind. In the throne world of Vela, the council was in chaos. Generals argued, senators shouted, nobles demanded answers. The Empire had not faced such confusion in centuries. Lord Chancellor Varos slammed his fist on the table. Silence. These humans are insects. We will drown them with fire. We are the Empire. But his words rang hollow. Everyone in the chamber had seen the recordings. They had seen dreadnoughts fall. They had seen the Grand Legions scatter. They had seen humanity stand. And more dangerous than defeat was the idea spreading across the galaxy. The Empire could be resisted. On distant colony worlds, slaves whispered in secret tunnels. The humans fight the Empire. They win. They bleed, but they rise again. Whispers turned into chants. Chants turned into riots. Soon, rebellion flared on planets that had been silent for centuries. The Valon Empire, stretched thin across 1,000 systems, now found itself bleeding from within. Garrisons were overwhelmed. Governors fled. Soldiers deserted. The flame of resistance, once unthinkable, was spreading. Admiral Krivos, once the most feared commander in the galaxy, sat in silence aboard his flagship. He had returned alive, but inside something had broken. His officers avoided his eyes. They knew their admiral had seen something he could not fight. At last, he whispered, "We are not losing to weapons. We are losing to will. They fight not for conquest, not for greed, but for freedom. That is why they do not break." His second officer asked quietly, "Admiral, what if they come for us next?" The admiral did not answer. He simply stared into the stars, haunted. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity was not celebrating. The battle had been won, but the cost was heavy. Wrecked ships filled the docks, hospitals overflowed with wounded. Families grieved for the dead, and yet there was no despair. There was determination. In the underground command center, the Supreme Commander addressed her people. The Empire believed numbers would defeat us. They were wrong. The Empire believed fear would silence us. They were wrong. The Empire believed humanity would kneel. They were wrong. Her words spread across every channel, across every city, across every ship. We are humanity. We fight together, and we do not stop. Cheers that followed were not of victory. They were of defiance. As the humans prepared for the next stage, the Valon Council fractured further. "We must retreat from the outer colonies," one general demanded. "No," shouted another. "If we retreat, rebellion will spread faster." "It already spreads," a senator whispered. "The humans lit the spark. We cannot put it out." For the first time, the council admitted the truth, even if only in silence. The Empire was breaking. Across the stars, the human fleet struck again. not with brute force, but with strategy. Small groups of ships attacked supply lines, cut communication. Relays destroyed shipyards. Everywhere the Empire turned, humans were there, striking and vanishing like shadows. It was not a war of territory. It was a war of pressure, of exhaustion. And the Empire was not built to endure. In one system, a rebellion rose after humans sent a single message to the enslaved people. You are not alone. Armed only with stolen tools and broken weapons, the rebels rose. The Empire sent soldiers to crush them, but when the soldiers arrived, they found human ships waiting. Together, rebels and humans stood, and the system was lost to the Empire. Stories spread like wildfire. The humans fight for us. The humans cannot be defeated. The humans are the future. Admiral Kravos was summoned to the council once more. His voice was bitter but honest. You can send more fleets, you can burn more worlds, but it will not matter. Humanity has done what no one else could. They have shown the galaxy that you can bleed. And once fear is gone, your empire will fall. The council roared in anger. Varos spat. Then we will erase them completely. No survivors, no history, no whispers. Humanity must die. But in his heart, Kravos knew the truth. The more they tried to erase humanity, the stronger humanity would rise. Back on Earth, the Supreme Commander gave her final words of the day. Her eyes were calm, but her tone was sharp as steel. The Empire breaks. They just don't know it. Yet, we will push until they fall. Not because we want their throne, not because we want their power, but because no one, no empire, no tyrant, no fleet will ever again think humanity is weak. Her officers saluted. Pilots strapped into ships, soldiers prepared for the next strike. Humanity was not fighting for survival anymore. Humanity was fighting for victory. And across the stars, as rebellions rose and fleets burned, one truth echoed louder than all others. The Empire feared humanity. And once an empire fears, it dies. The galaxy was no longer the same. The mighty Valan Empire, once feared across 1,000 worlds, now trembled. Its fleets had been shattered, its colonies rebelling, its illusion of invincibility broken. And at the center of this storm stood humanity, small, fragile, but unyielding. For the first time in history, the predators of the galaxy were afraid of prey. On the throne world of Vala, the council sat in silence. They had received report after report of failure, fleets destroyed, colonies lost, rebellions spreading like wildfire. Lord Chancellor Varos slammed his hand on the table. His voice shook with rage. This cannot continue. Humanity must be erased before the galaxy believes they are stronger than us. But his words carried no weight anymore. Too many defeats. Too much fear. Even the generals who once stood proud lowered their eyes. Admiral Kravos rose to speak. His voice was tired, hollow, but clear. My lords, you do not understand. We are not fighting a species. We are fighting a force. Humanity does not fight to survive. They fight to win. And nothing will stop them. The council erupted in chaos. But deep down they knew he spoke the truth. Far from the council chambers aboard Earth's command center, humanity prepared for the next step. The Supreme Commander stood before her officers. Her eyes were sharp, her voice calm. The Empire weakens. They thought this was only about Earth. But now, the galaxy knows the truth. The galaxy knows we are not victims. We are not prey. We are humanity. And we are coming. Around her, officers exchanged silent glances. Until now, their mission had been defense. To protect Earth. To survive. But her words hinted at something else. Something greater. In the docks of orbit, human ships were being rebuilt. Stronger, faster, deadlier. Command protocols had evolved, now sharper than before. What began as survival was now transformation. Humanity was no longer a desperate defender. Humanity was becoming a conqueror. The Valans learned this truth the hard way. In the border system of Harvos, An Imperial garrison waited nervously. When human ships appeared, the soldiers expected another raid. Instead, they received a message. The human commander's voice was cold, steady. Lay down your arms, join us, or be destroyed. Half the garrison surrendered instantly. The other half fought, and were wiped out within hours. Word spread across the stars. Humanity was no longer just resisting. Humanity was expanding undie. Earth, not everyone was comfortable. Some soldiers whispered, "Are we becoming what we once fought against?" Others asked, "If we crush the Empire, what comes next?" But the commanders gave no answer. They only prepared, because deep in their hearts they all knew the truth. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. Now they would never allow it again. Back in the Empire, rebellion spread faster. Slave worlds rose with courage, chanting, "The name of Earth." Minor species once loyal to the throne declared independence. The once mighty fleets splintered. The Council tried to hold control, but cracks widened. "If we cannot defeat humanity," one senator whispered, "perhaps we must bargain with them." Lord Chancellor Varos roared, "Bargain with animals? Never." But in the silence that followed, no one supported him. Admiral Krivos sat alone in his chambers. He remembered the faces of humans, the way they fought, the way they never gave up. He whispered to himself, "They are not animals. They are destiny, and destiny cannot be stopped." For the first time in his life, he knew the Empire's end was near. Then, humanity revealed its final card. Across the stars, a signal was broadcast, not just to the Empire, but to every world, every colony, every system. The Supreme Commander's voice echoed through the void. "We are humanity. We do not kneel. We do not break. We do not stop. The Empire thought we fought to survive. They were wrong. We fight to rise. We fight to lead. We fight to command the galaxy itself." The message ended, but its shadow lingered. For those who hated the Empire, it was hope. For those who still served it, it was terror. On the throne world, panic spread. They mean to replace us," whispered one general. "They mean to rule." Lord Chancellor Varos shouted in denial, but no one listened anymore. The truth was undeniable. The humans were no longer defending Earth. They were preparing to claim the stars. The final scene played out in the void above Earth. The human fleet, rebuilt and stronger, stood ready. Thousands of soldiers watched as their supreme commander gave the final order. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "The galaxy thought us weak. They forgot who we are. They forgot where we come from. We were born in fire. We were raised in war. And now we will rise as rulers. Let the stars remember the meaning of command." The fleet roared to life. Engines flared. Weapons powered up. Humanity was no longer a victim. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was the storm, and the galaxy would never be the same again.